Here at United Western Enterprises, we pride ourselves on doing our best to support our customers and enable them to receive the best parts possible. Here are a few guidelines towards designing your part with chemical etching in mind. One of the first things to consider is the size of the part. For our processing, the overall part cannot be larger than 30 inches wide and 60 inches long. Our ability to make a part this large will depend on a few other factors. For instance, how thick the material is and how tight the requested tolerances are. Next, we should talk about how thick the material can be. If we are etching all the way through the material, our range of thickness is generally 0.3 of a thousandths thick to 64 thousandths thick. On occasions, we have made parts as thick as 90 thousandths of an inch. However, parts that thick would require a tolerance of about plus or minus 15 thousandths of an inch. If the requirement is to just etch down or engrave characters in material, our equipment can handle material as thick as 1/4 of an inch. The smallest hole we can etch is dependent on how thick the base material is. The general rule is that we cannot etch a hole or a slot or any opening that is smaller than the material thickness. In the case of very thin material, the smallest hole we can etch is 4 thousandths of an inch. The minimal distance between holes, or web, is also a function of the material thickness. Our experience allows us to create parts with a remaining web of 67% of material thickness. So for instance, on a part made of 10 thousandths thick material, we can have remaining material as little as 7 thousandths of an inch. Material thickness also has an effect on the minimum radius we can create. For an outside radius, we can create a radius that is 75% of the material thickness. So on material that is 10 thousandths thick, we can achieve a radius that is 7 thousandths of an inch. The tightest inside radius we can achieve is equal to the material thickness. So for the same 10 thousandths thick material, we would be able to create an inside radius of 10 thousandths of an inch. Better results are possible with special considerations. Tolerances are also driven in a large respect by material thickness. As a rule, on edge-to-edge dimensions, we can hold a tolerance of plus or minus 10% of material thickness. This would correspond to the tightest tolerance requirement for a given part. For all other edge-to-edge requirements, we would ask for plus or minus 15% of the material thickness. A few exceptions to this rule could apply. For instance, the diameter of a hole can be reamed to size as a secondary operation. Also, for characteristics we call like edges, tolerances can be held much tighter. The tolerances for center-to-center dimensions can be held to 0.5 thousandths of an inch, no matter what the material thickness is. This is because that dimension would be established in the tooling for the part and is not determined by how long the part etches. These are a few general guidelines that can be used when considering chemical etching. For more information, please visit our website, uweinc.com, or feel free to email us, sales@uweinc.com.